All right, welcome to another episode of Asset Coach and Tax Strategist. And so today's video is really going to kind of affirm a lot of the things that I've been talking about with any of the videos you've seen regarding us versus China, and do we worry about China and what's going on, and the US's dominance, and are we sinking into this economic abyss or whatever crap we've heard, and chaos and noise that we've been hearing from the mainstream media. And so I wanted to go through a video from, as you know, that some of the videos we do are from Asia or other countries. And so wanted to go through Asia Nikki. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And this one is US nears half of global stock market cap as Alibaba and Tencent falter. These are Chinese tech groups that have fallen out of the world's top most valuable companies. Okay, so let's take a look at this. All right, so let's go through here and says, okay, as Chinese tech companies struggle with an economic slump and fall behind in artificial intelligence, US corporations now account for nearly half of global stock market value, the highest level of concentration in 2 decades. Okay, so let's go back in time 2 decades. What happened 2 decades ago? Well, we were kind of really on this pathway, this momentum of just really shifting as much as we can to China, right? And so we gave away a lot of the manufacturing we do. We started outsourcing everything to other countries, and really just focusing on this global economy. Okay. And it had been happening a decade or two before that already, okay? But mainland Chinese and Hong Kong companies have shed the equivalent of $1.7 trillion in value since the end of 2023. Folks, we're in February. 1.7 trillion value since the end of 2023. We're not saying 2022 in a whole year. We're talking about weeks, if not a month or two. Okay, this is crazy. Now, China's share of global market capitalization in dollar terms has dropped to around 10%, roughly half the peak of nearly 20% reached in 2015 when investors anticipated faster economic growth. The US total has risen by 1.4 trillion over the same period to $51 trillion. $51 trillion, putting the country's share at 48.1%, the largest since September of 03. When? 03. Okay. What happened in 01, 02, 03? We had the 2000, right? We had that tech bubble. We had Enron. We had WorldCom, right? We had 9/11. We had all these things the events that occurred. The gap between the US and China has widened to the largest on record in data going back to 2001. So 23 years of data, 2 decades, largest gap. Okay. Now, I can keep going on and going on, but a picture really paints the picture here. So the US is the dark blue. Okay. So here's the US. This is the $51 trillion. The Europe, they're ahead of China. The article didn't talk about that. It just said the gap between the US. Europe is ahead of China. And then we have China, Japan, and India. And I fully anticipate that not only will Europe continue to surpass China, but I believe Japan and India will surpass China. I believe, and look at China, this includes Hong Kong. Okay. Imagine if the British never gave up Hong Kong to China and they never absorbed it, right? Imagine where China would be right now. Okay. You don't really need to imagine it. It wouldn't be a conversation, right? But take a look at this. This is insane. When we look at this and we take a look at not just this gap between us and China, but Europe, the gap between Europe and China. That to me, I think that's probably one of the things that actually is one of the most surprising aspects of this picture. Okay. And then we have Japan, which I think this is what's going to end up happening. This is what's going to end up happening. I actually think India may surpass Japan. China is going to go down like this. And then I think Europe is just going to continue to go straight. Okay. And even if the US went straight, okay, this is the gap. 50% gap. Okay. So the US makes up 50% of the market capitalization in the world. Okay. So what are we freaking worried about? What are we scared about? What are we talking about when we're talking about not just is China, what, not even BRICS, right? This BRICS crap that they keep talking about. This is insane when you look at this market capitalization. Now, of course, it can take with market capitalization, it can take a good recession to change those numbers, obviously, right? But it goes back to my point. There is no other continent, there is no other country in the world that consumes material goods and services like the United States. This is what makes the US the strongest economy. This is what makes the globalization to be quote unquote successful to this point, is because the US is looking for the ability to provide goods and services at a lower cost to keep inflation curbed, right? Because we like to buy stuff. Okay, that's not going to change, folks. The recession, a recession, whatever we call it, it's going to be another blip, and then we're going to continue to move on into the economic growth that we have seen. Okay, this is because the U.S. is realizing at post-COVID that we really can't rely on globalization. We really need to focus on the United States being self-sufficient and not just eliminating globalization, but not relying on globalization, right? Our best partner right now is Mexico because of the NAFTA, because of manufacturing, okay? That's a huge benefit, huge benefit. Doesn't get any airtime, okay? So this is really important. You know, I know this episode wasn't going to be long. But I just wanted to throw out there. This is that continuing trend we're going to see, and there's going to be some more throughout the rest of this year. There's going to be a ton of videos and information about what's happening, because China is, again, as you've seen in previous episodes, it's on a downslide. It's sliding, and it's really because of their leadership and what their leadership has done. And at the end of the day, we have nothing to worry about other than ourselves. So thanks again for joining us. Hey, if you liked what you heard, please give us a thumbs up, like us, share us with your friends, families, and colleagues. And if you haven't subscribed, dear Lord, go ahead and subscribe. We're on our push to 100 subscribers. That's right, 100, not 1,000, not 10,000, not 100,000. We're on a push for our 100th subscriber. And I don't know. Well, I have no idea what we're going to do when we hit 100 subscribers, but I guarantee you it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun, and we're going to do something about it. So God bless you. Thanks so much for listening, and make it a great day.